You are watching a master at work.
In Manchester, New Hampshire, have charged a 22-year-old Salem man with second-degree murder. They say John DeLee shot and killed 24-year-old Timothy Pouliot just before 1 a.m. on Old Granite Street. It appears the two men were involved in a dispute inside the Goat Bar and Grill, which spilled out onto the street. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Manchester PD.
Emotional, and they told us Timothy was kind and generous and would do anything to help others.
Gathered by candlelight, the loss of 24-year-old Timothy Pouliot is simply too much for his mother to bear.
My son was loved so much. Why?
An active mentor to young children in the community and a Taekwondo standout, his family says the Manchester native had a passion for helping others.
He inspired everybody just loves him.
But early Saturday morning, his life was cut short when Pouliot was killed in a shooting on Old Granite Street after police say there was a dispute at the Goat Bar in Manchester.
It's like a dream. It doesn't make sense why he's not here.
He didn't die alone. He held him in his arms. And he said, tell my mom I love her.
His loved ones say he wanted to inspire others.
He would speak about positivity and growth and development and just being the best self you can be.
And above all, he was devoted to his 2-year-old daughter, Arabella.
He just wanted to hold her and be with her, and he loved her.
The alleged shooter, 22-year-old John DeLee from Salem, has been charged with second-degree murder.
No.
But now, his devastated family have been left to wonder why this happened at all.
Put the guns down. Why did they
so much love here. So much love here. I can feel it. One person can make an impact of the whole community.
And this is an ongoing investigation, so if you have any information, you're asked to contact Manchester Police. Live in Manchester, Ariel Metropolis, WMUR News.
Hearing for the first time from a witness to one of the wilder crash scenes you'll ever see. The woman dragged in her car for 8 miles on I-435 by a semi-driver is now out of the hospital. That driver telling police he had no idea she was there. I'm John Holt.
I'm Lauren Halifax. This all started at 435 in State Line Road, and that's where Fox 4's Dave DeMarco is tonight with video you will see only on Fox 4.
Yeah, and those salt truck drivers witnessed this crash right back here and then quickly followed behind when they realized that semi-truck driver wasn't stopped.
You can see the headlights. That's exactly the spot where she hit it.
Samar Thacker had been salting parking lots as the snow fell Wednesday morning and was sitting at the light at State Line Road ready to get on 435. Video captured on a fellow salt truck driver's phone shows a semi going on a green light through the intersection and a Kia Forte smashing into the semi's trailer.
She's probably going at least 30 miles an hour when it happened, 30, 40 miles an hour. And then next thing you know, that car's just wedged underneath there.
Thacker expected the semi-driver to get out, see if the other driver was okay, but that didn't happen.
We heard a huge boom. There was a loud bang, and I thought that he would have felt that or stopped, but he did not stop at all and just kept going.
Video shows what happens next as the semi got on 435 westbound, dragging the car alongside it. By the time the semi made its way to Metcalf Avenue, you can see a salt truck with its flashing white lights falling behind and another alongside the semi-driver.
Yeah, we were honking. We tried to get in front. I didn't try to get in front of my truck, but my buddy did. And he did not. We tried to roll windows down, slow him down, and he was not getting our attention at all.
Thacker said he could see the helpless woman moving inside and feared for the worst.
She got unstuck for whatever reason from that spot she was. She could have got ran over by those rear wheels, and that Prius would have gotten smashed, I think.
After 8 miles, Overland Park police finally stopped the truck at Lackman Road. They found a 28-year-old Kansas City woman stuck underneath with the roofline partially collapsed.
The fire en route to extract the female party has informed us she can't move or get out.
She told police she'd left a bar and had been drinking, but believed she was able to safely drive. The 70-year-old semi-driver said he thought he hit a curb and his vehicle felt a bit sluggish afterward.
I'm just surprised he didn't stop. To go 8 miles with the car getting dragged.
So pretty incredible video there, John. Leawood police do continue to investigate the crash.
Is underway tonight to find this man accused of torturing and holding at least 2 women captive in Oregon and Nevada. Authorities are warning the public that the suspect is using dating apps to find new victims and also to find people who will help him elude police. News Nation correspondent Nick Smith has been tracking the story and joins us now. Nick?
And Natasha, they believe that many of his victims may not know exactly what's happening. Police are calling the details associated with their suspect extremely troubling. And they say he is the subject of an intensive round-the-clock search after a woman he was with was found unconscious, tied up, and near death. Take a look at this photo. This is 36-year-old Benjamin Foster. Police released this undated photo and have accused him of torturing a woman he held captive in Oregon. They say Foster, who was convicted in Nevada of keeping another woman in captivity, is using dating apps to find other people who can help him avoid capture or possibly to find new victims. Police in Grant Pass, Oregon say on Tuesday, Foster left a woman unconscious, tied up, and near death. She remains hospitalized in critical condition. On Thursday, police raided a property they believe Foster to be hiding in. His car was taken, and a 68-year-old woman was arrested for hindering prosecution. They say Foster managed to escape through a thick forested area. Now, police say that Foster is actively using online dating apps to contact unsuspecting individuals who may be lured into assisting with the suspect's escape or potentially as additional victims. Grant Pass PD on Friday, police offered a $2,500 reward for information leading to the arrest and prosecution of Foster, who is charged with attempted murder, kidnapping, and assault. Now, Foster is believed to be armed and, quote, extremely dangerous. Police stress that they are using every available resource and technology to locate him. Natasha?
Disturbing. Nick Smith, thank you so much.
One of those goofy headlines, it couldn't possibly be real, but it was. Les Trent on the tragic freak accident in which a man was killed when a dog stepped on a loaded rifle.
Dog bites man. You see headlines like that all the time. But dog shoots man? That's a rare one. But cops say it happened to this guy, 30-year-old Joseph Smith. Smith was in the passenger seat of his buddy's pickup truck. In the back, hunting gear and a rifle and a dog. According to the police, a K9 belonging to the owner of the pickup stepped on the rifle, causing the weapon to discharge. Smith was fatally shot in the back. It's not known who owned the gun.
His friend is absolutely beside himself.
Chris Brown is Smith's boss at a plumbing business in Wichita, Kansas. He says this photo shows Smith with his own beloved dog, Ruger. How do you process losing somebody that close to you in circumstances this bizarre?
So bizarre. I don't quite understand why we would ever lose Joe in such a strange way.
Smith's family is outraged that the circumstances of his death are leading to some insensitive commentary on social media. Did the dog have a hunting license also, goes one snarky remark. And this, I believe the dog had been planning this for some time.
To any of those people, I would say shame on you.
A GoFundMe account has been set up for the dead man's family. We've got details on that over at InsideEdition.com.
And we are also learning a massive fire at an egg farm in Basra left as many as 100,000 chickens dead. This happened early this afternoon at a Hillendale egg farm on Schwartz Road. It quickly turned into a 3-alarm fire with as many as 20 companies responding. The Salvation Army on the scene confirmed with firefighters 100,000 chickens sadly perished, but no other injuries have been reported.
Feeling the impact of the dangerous weather, including that tornado in southeast Texas this week. One woman also died during the stormy weather. A mother did everything she could to protect her baby inside an apartment when the tornado hit. We continue to hear so many stories of what happened this week, and ABC 13's Derek Lewis talked to both of those families. He joins us live from Deer Park. Derek?
Tom, it's been 5 days since that storm and tornado came through this area, and families are still coping with what happened. Both families tell me they want to get the message out to show love to your loved ones while they are still here.
Felicia Luna is happy to be alive with her son and husband. Robert Luna was at work Tuesday when the tornado hit Beamer Place Apartments. Felicia and their 2-year-old son were on the couch.
I just covered my son. We got on the ground. I covered him with my body. And
You could hear the sounds all around us.
She says within seconds, the ceiling fell.
Just debris everywhere, and I was screaming for help. It was raining over us, and my son was shaking and freezing, and my neighbor came and he helped us.
Robert rushed home, going through several emotions.
A lot of shock and fear at first, until I saw my wife and my son for myself. The fear subsided after that, and just disbelief, seeing our apartment just completely gone.
Drivers also had to deal with heavy rain around southeast Texas. In Navasota, Christopher Gibbs went to run errands with his mom, Urania Sweet. Their car hydroplaned and crashed into a utility pole.
The telephone pole hit the top of the car. We tried to back up to avoid the telephone pole from shocking the car, but it shocked it anyways with us in it. She ended up getting out of the car, standing on the ground, and as soon as she touched the ground, she was gone.
Chris tried to save his mother, but she died from her injuries. Relatives say she always had a big heart.
She made people proud, that she was genuinely loved. Yeah, I think I would just remind her, because I think it was something that she didn't get a lot.
The Luna family has to start over, all while expecting a new baby this year. They are taking this moment to reflect.
Don't take the opportunity to call your loved ones, to say I love you, to spend some time with them for granted. Don't take anything that you have in your life for granted, because from one moment to the next, it could be gone.
I'm Derek Lewis, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
To shore on a Marblehead beach Thursday night has been identified as 31-year-old Michael Gray of Peabody. His body was found by a woman out walking her dog. Gray was reported missing in early December. That's when dive teams searched for Gray in the waters off Juniper Beach in Salem after finding some of his clothing on the beach. The investigation into exactly what happened is ongoing.
Heard on the news that would soon become personal.
I had just saw the story on Fox 2 News. And when I saw that story, I thought to myself, this is heartless, this is cruel. Why would they do something like that?
The story was about the body of a man located along the Southfield Freeway earlier this week.
I took my son to school, and 30 minutes later, my brother called me and told me that it was my nephew. And I just fell to the floor and started screaming.
The family has identified the victim as 22-year-old John Williams, a former Marine who served his country and was now back home in Detroit working as a chef.
It was nothing done on that freeway. He was dumped like some trash. Whoever did this shot him in the head, which is an instant kill, and dumped him.
And family members have no idea why, but they know John did not deserve to die this way.
He was a very, very bright individual, you know, always wanted to make people laugh.
In fact, this loved one says the family wants to remain anonymous until police can gather more information that will lead to an arrest.
We don't know, you know, who did this. We don't know if they are, you know, a part of a gang.
Fox 2 reached out to Michigan State Police, and we are told that the investigation is ongoing. Family members want anyone with information about the incident to speak up.
If you know anything, would you please allow your heart to think about if this was you in this situation?
As Michigan State Police continue to investigate, the family has started a GoFundMe account to get support for their loved one.
Unfortunately, he didn't have a life insurance policy.
Go to fox2detroit.com to learn how you can donate. But for now, all this family can think about is a life that is gone too soon.
You know, 22 years old, he didn't even get a chance to start his life.
And so the COVID vaccine and booster shots have been promoted by many in the medical community and the U.S. government as safe and effective. But despite the voice of confidence from the experts, there are those who continue to reject the vaccine and booster shots.
Well, I am definitely against it, me and my family, because there's just too many complications with it. They want us to take a vaccine they made in less than 3 weeks. No.
And now they're saying the shots are causing strokes. I took my third booster shot and lost my taste and smell. So what's the benefits of me keep taking more shots?
Cardiologists at Corewell East, formerly Beaumont, say they hear the concerns.
I believe it's coming from the fact that we know that the vaccination and the booster, especially the Moderna, is associated with a very small but real risk of myocarditis,
Also known as inflammation of the middle layer of the heart wall, that can cause heart failure and even cause someone to die.
Therefore, we have to review the risks of that vaccination.
So what I'm hearing from you is that there is a real possible connection between cardiac arrest and the COVID vaccine. Is that correct?
Well, what I would say is there is a definite association.
But doctors still question if other factors could be involved.
So could it be from the COVID vaccine itself, causing that risk of myocarditis and therefore sudden cardiac arrest? Could it be from the coronavirus itself, which caused long-term effects?
Or could it be the lack of medical care patients received during the lockdown when people had to stay home?
We don't have the full story yet. I believe in the next few months, we will have a better understanding as long as that data is published.
So should you get the vaccine and booster shot?
At this point, I think it's irresponsible to say don't get it. I think it's irresponsible to say definitely get it.
Doctors say it's crucial that people do not seek information about the vaccine through an internet search or social media.
Talk to your doctor, talk to your family, and then come up with an idea or a treatment plan that works for you.
In Southfield, Ingrid Kelly, Fox.
Others are injured following a shooting at a hookah lounge in Northwest Austin last night. KXAN's Sarah Alshay spoke to a woman who recalls the heart-wrenching moment she witnessed.
They were just covered in blood. It was horrific.
It's a night Whitley Degollado says she'll never forget.
They were teenagers and they were just totally distraught, like screaming, crying.
Degollado says she saw the aftermath of Saturday night's shooting at this Northwest Austin hookah lounge on Research Boulevard. One person was killed, 4 others injured, some of them in critical condition.
I could already see one of the girls had been, I guess, grazed. They had her on the ground trying to roll her over.
Police received reports about a shooting at the business a little after 10. When they arrived, they found multiple people with gunshot wounds. Austin police say this was an isolated incident and there's no known threat to the public.
From what I was told by the kids that were there, there was like an argument that got heated and escalated, and then shots just started firing out.
Degollado works nearby at a casino gaming business. She says most of those at the lounge were teenagers that night. As a mother, Degollado says it hurt to see them so scared.
There was a couple of them, like they couldn't even talk. They were just like doubled over, like hyperventilating and crying.
She says it seems shootings are becoming more common in this part of Austin, something she believes didn't happen in the past.
North Austin is not like it used to be, man. It's really not.
Degollado hopes the 2 in critical condition pull through.
They were just hurt, man, like, and they're scared.
Sarah Alshah, KXAN News.
C2, Houston's home for news.
A family is seeking justice for a husband and father shot and killed while getting his cell phone repaired. It happened Thursday afternoon in the 800 block of West Little York Road. As of tonight, there is no suspect in custody and the family is desperate for answers.
He's not a bad man. He is a good man. He has a good husband. And he love him and I miss him. It's not reason the man he take this life.
41-year-old Vicente Duarte went to get his cell phone screen repaired and never came back home.
It was cold-blooded murder, that's what it was.
Houston police say Duarte was shot and killed Thursday afternoon by another customer during an argument. Family members say they can't imagine what would have led to this.
He never gets into any problems whatsoever. I mean, he's never mad, he's always happy. Just a simple man, just living every day, hardworking.
He was good with my kids. We really miss him a lot.
The family now hoping surveillance video from the store will help Houston police identify and arrest the shooter.
I just hope they catch this dude. I don't know why you did it, man, but they're gonna find you. They're gonna find you. Sooner or later, we want closure. We want to know why he did it. What was the reason? I mean, he didn't deserve that. He didn't deserve that.
In the town of Duxbury, the community plans to come together to try to begin healing after this week's tragedy there. A mother is charged with murdering 2 of her children and trying to kill her infant as well. WBZ's Anna Myler is in Duxbury today.
Lindsay Clancy is still in the hospital, but officials say she will be arraigned on murder charges when she is well enough. Here at their home in Duxbury, people have been stopping by, leaving flowers and stuffed animals to offer their condolences.
So sad for the people and the whole community.
Like so many other community members, Frank is feeling the pain of what happened at this house. He stopped by this morning to leave flowers and reflect.
It's a little something we give all that out.
Officials announced last night that 32-year-old Lindsay Clancy is now being charged with homicide in the deaths of 2 of her children.
Preliminarily, it appears the children were strangled.
Officials say Lindsay also attempted to take her own life. When her husband arrived home Tuesday evening, he found her outside in distress and called 911. First responders found the 3 kids inside unconscious. 5-year-old Cora and 3-year-old Dawson didn't make it. Their 7-month-old brother is at a hospital in Boston fighting for his life. The officers and firefighters who responded are now on leave and are being offered services to help them cope.
I work with them every day. I know a little bit of what they go through, but when they tell me it's the worst they've ever seen, it's going to have an impact.
Right now, it's unclear when Lindsay will be arraigned. Legal analyst Jennifer Roman says once that happens, her defense team will start piecing together this puzzle and likely preparing for a trial.
There has been an allegation that she was suffering from postpartum psychosis. So I suspect that that's going to become a part of the defense team's defense, that perhaps she's not guilty by reason of insanity.
There will be a candlelight vigil at the Holy Family Church at 7 o'clock tonight to pray for the Clancy family, their loved ones, and the first responders. Reporting in Duxbury, Anna Myler.
Old baby, now identified as Callan Clancy, who had been fighting for his life after a horrific incident at a Duxbury home, has died. The Plymouth District Attorney tells us they got a call from the state medical examiner's office telling them the baby did not make it. He was pronounced dead at Boston Children's Hospital earlier today. The child's mother, 32-year-old Lindsay Clancy, is preparing to face murder charges for the deaths of her other 2 children. She's currently in the hospital. We do not know her condition at this time. This update comes hours after community members held a vigil in Duxbury last night to pray for
Severe burns to his hands and his face during a backyard accident with gasoline. Terrifying fireball. This whole thing caught on camera. News specialist Lad Egan, live for us in Orem with more on just what happened here and how that man is doing tonight. Lad?
Yeah, Mike, I just spoke with the man's wife. She says that her husband is at home recovering, but in a lot of pain today. Neighbors are calling this a freak accident, saying that it happened when he tried to start a fire in his backyard.
Always a really fun-loving guy. He loves the outdoors.
On January 14th, Jason Hone was in the backyard of his Orem home. He crouches down at the fire pit, arranges some wet wood, and then pours gasoline.
He believes it was some static that actually caught the can of gas on fire.
The father of 4 enveloped in a ball of fire.
He said that he kind of flinched, and so the gas went all over his face, his hands.
Hone frantically jumps away from the fire pit and throws himself to the ground. When that doesn't put the flames out, he removes his coat. While running back to the house, he forcefully swats at his face to extinguish his burning beard.
Just that ball of fire just explode. It was pretty hard to watch.
In addition to the burn injuries, emergency room doctors told Hone that he needs emergency back surgery.
He's pretty much on the border of being paralyzed. If he does one wrong move, he could sever the nerve in his back completely.
Neighbors say the family is trying to stay in high spirits.
But the truth is they're in really, really bad shape.
They've created a GoFundMe to help with medical bills and ongoing expensive care for their daughter born with a rare genetic disorder.
We love the Hone family. They're so thoughtful, so it's just hard to see something like this happen to a family that was already struggling. They really have had the world taken out from under them.
and luckily he didn't breathe. He held his breath while that fire was all around him, saving his lungs from any damage. And I will put a link for those who want to help to this GoFundMe on our website. You know, Mike, this family truly just going through a lot right now.
Oh, that video is terrifying.
Bus crash took the life of a teenager in Sandy today, and the community is grieving tonight.
Fox 13 News reporter Maithili Gubi was at the scene and breaks down what we know so far.
Truly a devastating situation. A bus with 16 high school students going through the intersection of 8400 South and State Street in Sandy hit a 15-year-old girl in the street. Now, she unfortunately did die of her injuries. I spoke to people who came to the scene when they saw commotion and say they're absolutely gutted by what happened. It's been very emotional here for this community.
This is a very sad and a scary situation at the same time.
As a mother to a 9-year-old, Carmen Wilcox says she was holding back tears after hearing about what happened.
This is the worst nightmare for a parent, you know, and it's any word can really alleviate this grief. I mean, it's very, very sad.
Sandy police says around 1 p.m., officers responded to a school bus that hit a pedestrian. She was a 15-year-old at Jordan High School.
It's tragic. It's tough for all of us on scene when it's, you know, on these types of accidents. You know, and especially the other thing that we're dealing with is, you know, 16 high school students were on the bus at the time of the accident.
Those kids go to Hillcrest High School, and teams blocked the street for hours trying to reconstruct the scene because there are still many details we don't know.
Part of that investigation is determining exactly how this took place, and this will be done to scale.
The Canyon School District community is trying to cope with the situation. Schools will have counseling services and resources to help. The superintendent released a statement saying the loss of any child at any time is heartbreaking for a community. Today, the entire Canyons District community mourns the tragic passing of one of our beautiful and cherished students. There's a small memorial forming with loved ones dropping off flowers for the girl and lighting candles. Carmen brought her son to the intersection to remind him to be safe when on the street.
I always recommend that he always aware to the surroundings
and hopes that people driving around pay attention too.
We need to take care of our pedestrians, especially our kids,
so no family has to go through this pain. We'll keep you updated online and on air as we learn more. In Sandy, I am Maithili Gubi, Fox 13 News, Utah.
The city of Midvale released a statement today saying this tragedy has
Tragedy in Enoch earlier this month was Utah's deadliest shooting in years, and a grim reminder that most mass killings take place inside the home.
While it's not always possible to predict this type of violence, experts telling KSL investigator Daniela Rivera there are often patterns and warning signs.
A devastating loss. 5 children, their mother and grandmother, believed to be killed by their father in rural Utah, a pain other communities in the state know well. A teenager murdered 3 siblings and his mother in Grantsville in 2020. 6 years earlier, a police officer killed his wife, their 2 children, his mother-in-law, and then himself in Spanish Fork. These are Utah's deadliest shootings in the past decade.
We're socialized to believe that we're always safe at home.
But for women and often their children, University of Utah professor Sonia Solari says home can be the most dangerous place. That's also true on a national level, according to this analysis from Northeastern University, USA Today, and the Associated Press. Solari studies murder-suicides involving intimate partners, a common pattern. Her research finds higher rates of these killings in parts of the country with less restrictive gun laws and higher gun ownership.
The victims are most vulnerable when the perpetrator has a firearm.
The use of a gun was just tragic all around.
Todd Gray was Utah's chief medical examiner for almost 30 years and retired in 2016. He says domestic violence was blamed for about 1 in 4 homicides he investigated, more than any other category.
Yeah, we see this all the time, and it's way too damn common.
With persistent themes in those cases. First, uneven power dynamics.
The man of the family was the one that had the right to control everything.
Often, the threat of separation.
She files for divorce.
Just as Tasha Haight had done 2 weeks before her death. And again, firearms in the home.
Guns are not a good thing to introduce.
He says attempted strangulation, a felony crime in Utah, is also often a warning sign. In Enoch, Macy Haight told police in 2020 her father had choked her. Michael was never charged. It's a behavior Gray says is alarming.
Yeah, big red flag.
Research shows someone who survives being strangled by an intimate partner is 10 times more likely to be killed later on by the same abuser.
You know, somebody's using strangulation as a method of control or punishment for whatever perceived slights the aggressor is addressing.
Even if someone doesn't stop breathing and doesn't lose consciousness.
That's a very dangerous situation.
Solari and Gray told us they see positive signs. They say more police agencies are using assessments to find out how much danger domestic violence victims are in. A pending Utah bill would mandate this protocol, and it's scheduled for debate in a Senate committee tomorrow afternoon. Mike and Deanie.
All right, Danny, thank you for that. Now, if you or somebody...
California's fourth mass shooting in a week. This one in a Los Angeles neighborhood where 3 people were killed, 4 others wounded. ABC's Ike Ajachi is live in L.A. with more on that. Ike, good morning.
Good morning, Whit. You said it yourself. This is now the 4th mass shooting with multiple victims here in California in just the past week. And this time, investigators say the shooting happened early Saturday morning in front of a short-term rental home in the Beverly Crest neighborhood, just north of Beverly Hills. Multiple law enforcement sources tell ABC News they believe a party was underway at the time of the incident. Now, officers responded to several 911 calls around 2:30 a.m. about a shooting with people down. Now, once on scene, they found 3 people dead in a car, with 4 others also wounded. Police are saying this was not an active shooter situation. They believe it was targeted, a possible dispute, and they're canvassing the neighborhood for video. However, the suspect has not been caught yet. This shooting comes just a week after 72-year-old Hu Can Tran gunned down 11 people, wounding 9 others at a ballroom dance hall in Monterey Park. 3 days later, police say another gunman killed 7 people at 2 farms around Half Moon Bay. That same night in Oakland, 8 people were shot and 1 killed at a gas station. As for this most recent shooting, of the 4 wounded, 2 remain in critical condition at a local hospital, while the other 2 are in stable condition. Eva?
Ike Ajachi for Chinatown. Police now looking for the person who shot a man on a southbound in train at the Canal Street station. Passengers on that train, of course, scrambling to take cover as it all unfolded. Eyewitness News reporter Marcus Solis live at the scene with the breaking details from overnight. Marcus.
Mike, some scary moments for sure for those on board, and this comes just one day after the mayor and governor were touting how much things have improved underground, how ridership is up, subway crime is down, but nevertheless a violent incident overnight. It was 1 a.m. on a southbound 1 train that was approaching the Canal Street station that this took place. Passengers report hearing 2 gunshots, sent them scrambling inside of that car, and when the train finally got to the Canal Street station, that is when that injured passenger was tended to, taken to Bellevue Hospital. His condition is unknown, but again, some frightening moments as passengers recall hearing 2 gunshots in that car.
When we were all huddled in a corner, we honestly weren't sure what we were going to do. We were staring at where the gunshots came from. We weren't sure what the person's next move was going to be.
Second passenger was also injured during the melee, taken also to Bellevue Hospital. Police continue to search for the gunman.